Today, I want to explore the question, what is truth? In another video, we have explored popular responses to that question. So in this video, I want to consider three philosophical theories of truth. Philosophers want to try to define what we mean when we call something true. Can we pin down the criteria by which things can be assessed to determine if we can call them true? There are three theories that we will be addressing in this video: the correspondence theory, the coherence theory, and pragmatism. In reality, there's a broad variety of opinions, even among philosophers, who can be grouped together in one of these categories. But we'll just give a general overview. The first theory we'll look at is the correspondence theory. And just as the title suggests, the idea here is that a statement or belief is true if it corresponds to facts about the world. What we believe or say is true if it corresponds to the way that things actually are. In other words, when one attempts to evaluate a belief as true or not, the primary concern is whether or not it fits accurately with how the world actually is. If it reflects the world accurately, it's true. If it doesn't, it's false. And this view of truth has a long history going all the way back to the ancient world. You'll find it in the works of those like Aristotle and Thomas Aquinas. And I think for most of us, there's a certain intuitive aspect to this view. While some may reject this view in favor of others, it is at least one that most people can understand. And we can describe this approach as a content to world approach. The content is our statement or belief, and the world is the facts that we describe, and they're their own entity that we are trying to describe accurately with our content. The second theory that we're going to explore is known as the coherence theory. This theory became prominent in the 20th century, especially in Britain. Rather than focusing on whether a proposition mirrors reality, this theory focuses on the coherence of beliefs. A belief is true then if it is part of a coherent system of beliefs. For some, this means then that truth exists as an entire system rather than individual true statements. And the emphasis here leads to focusing on how statements and beliefs work together. The linchpin of truth is whether statements are consistent and they hold together. So rather than trying to correspond between content and the world, the emphasis is upon how content fits together. And the final theory worth mentioning is known as pragmatism. Pragmatism is often associated with philosophy in the United States. It has been described as an evasion of philosophy and is often reduced to slogans that say, truth is the end of inquiry, or truth is satisfactory to believe. There's an emphasis in this theory on practical matters and experience. Something cannot be true if it conflicts with your own experience of the world. There is, in this sense, at least among some pragmatists, something similar to the correspondence theory. If you imagine your experience as a fact to which your belief must correspond, then you can see the connection. But pragmatic approaches to truth vary from the correspondence theory because they reject the transcendent claim to truth. The correspondence theory of truth requires broad commitments about reality and how it works. And these claims are to be avoided or evaded, according to pragmatists, instead focusing on a notion of truth that doesn't commit to transcendent claims about the world and reality. Instead, if it works, if it fits my experience, that's enough for it to be true for the pragmatists. Now, whether or not the pragmatic approach is correct, it does show us that how we think about truth, which theory we use, even when we are consciously deciding to use, say, the correspondence theory, we are assuming important matters about not just truth, but the world around us and our experiences and our beliefs. We can choose not to reflect on these questions, but we cannot choose to avoid answering them. So, what do you think? Is there an approach to truth that you recognize in your own view of the world? Taking the time to consider three philosophical theories of truth, the correspondence, coherence, and pragmatic theory, might help you decide whether you've latched on to the best vision of truth. And given that every day you make decisions based upon your belief about truth, it's worth taking some time to make sure you've got a good theory of truth backing up your decisions. Thank you for watching this production of Humanities Scholars Hub, where we explore philosophy, religion, and other aspects of human life.